Good evening, everyone. This is Irish Clyde Providal, and I will be presenting e-commerce in action for you tonight. Unfortunately, Miss Gianna May Rivera has dropped out of the subject, so I will be discussing the whole content of this topic for you guys today. So, for the list of contents that we will be discussing today. First is online retailing and service. Next, online content and media. N- Next, social networks and auctions and portals. And the last one would be B2B e-commerce, supply chain management, and collaborative commerce. All right. So, for our first topic, it would be online retailing and services. So, first and foremost, ano nga ba ang online retailing? Online retailing is the most visible e-commerce sector that we have as of the moment. This has been prevalent with Lazada, Shopee, Zara, and the likes that we know. Um, na, and na pagbibilhan natin during this time. So, as for the definition, it is a form of electronic commerce where consumers directly buy goods or services from a seller via the internet. And the customers visit the company's website, select a product, enter the payment information and shipping details, and then order the product. Um, for sure naman lahat naman tayo nakagamit ng online retailing services or applications in our own phones and our own computers. So, hindi lang naman sila recent, prevalent, like this online retailing services has been happening back then yung mga 2010s pa. And there has been so many developments that are being made for the past decade and sobrang daming success niya from which was accumulated from a lot of failures rin. So, um, uh, in-underestimate to ng mga retailers back in the days kasi there's this fear about the security and baka hindi siya mabenta when we're using the internet. So, this is a bit of a taboo and most entrepreneurs are preferring physical stores over online retailing. Pero as time goes by and with a bit of a push from the pandemic that's going around in the world today, online retailing has been successful. And this is the most go-to uh, channel that we shop as of today kasi for safety na nga rin. So next, what's the advantages of online retailing? So first, lower supply chain cost by aggregating demand at a single site and increasing purchasing power. Mas madali tayong makapag-deliver sa mga consumers natin if we are the seller. And mas mabilis rin natin makukuha yung mga supplies natin from the interconnected web that we have. Hindi lang from the raw materials but as well sa labor na rin because some services are being offered online such as becoming a virtual assistant or a social media manager. And mas tumataas yung purchasing power ng consumers kasi mas marami silang choices and mas na-empower sila to have their own decisions in their shopping choices. So next would be lower cost of distribution using websites rather than physical stores. As we have known, physical stores will require payment for mortgages if ever or mga lease. Tapos pwera pa din yung mga internal designs na they had to they had to parang paggastusan. So, instead na pagkakagastusan natin kung ano yung nasa loob ng physical stores natin, we would focus on how our websites would look like for our customers. And kaya malaki yung binibigay nating mga fees for our programmers and the like or web developers kasi mas nabibigyan ng pansin ng mga consumers kapag mas maganda yung websites na meron tayo. Third, ability to reach and serve a much larger geographically distributed group of customers. This has been obvious. Physical stores can only provide their services and their products within the area, pero if you have online retailing such as Shopee and Lazada, you can reach as far as other countries basta meron ka lang tamang logistics um with your product and lalo na dun sa customs natin. Next, ability to react quickly to customer taste and demand. So, may mga ibang may mga ibang retailers na nagpapalit agad sila ng products according to trends and to what's new. So, tini-take advantage nila yon, most especially when there's a affiliate marketing happening on TikTok. Parang kapag sumikat yung ganitong product, halos yun na yung makikita mong mga products in Shopee and the likes. So next, online retailing advantages. Ability to change prices nearly instantly. Uh, you can change them individually as I have experienced in Shopify. Pwede mo siyang palitan ng isa-isa per product or you can just change the prices in bulk. Like papalitan mo sila ng markup from for example 10% to 15%. Ganon. Next would be ability to rapidly change visual presentation of goods. As mentioned before, programmers and web developers are badly needed with this type of retailing. And good thing, meron na tayong mga options to build up our own websites without having to code such as Wix or WordPress. You can just click everything in there and most often than not, yung kung anong itsura ng website mo para lang siyang how you would design your website by using Canva. Ganun. Next would be the avoidance of direct marketing cost of catalogs and physical mail. Next, increased opportunities for personalization and customization. This is in the point of view of the sellers. So, kung anong gusto mong theme ng iyong website, for example, if it has to be like professional or if your target market would be for the younger generations, mas upbeat and mas highlighted yung magiging itsura ng website mo. Next would be ability to greatly improve information and knowledge delivered to the consumers. Minsan hindi na tayo pwede maging satisfied as a seller. Hindi na tayo pwede maging satisfied by just exchanging transactions with our consumers. We have to study as well the frequency and the statistics that's going on with our data para mas mabigyan natin ng proper services yung mga consumers natin. So for example, if you are having higher sales in a certain product, you will have to parang get greater supplies from it. Tapos, if it's possible, you can ask the supplier kung pwedeng ipangalan sa'yo yung label o kaya mas mabigyan natin ng pansin yung mga hinihingi na demands ng consumer for greater products and for frequency na rin na pagbili nila sa atin. So next, ability to lower consumers' overall market transaction cost. So, hindi na nila kailangang mamasahe, hindi na nila kailangang umikot-ikot. Not only the cost, but then the effort as well. They can just choose whatever products they want to buy from you by just clicking on their phones or on their laptops. So next would be the online retailing challenges. Ano nga ba naging problema? When we do online retailing, consumers are concerned with security of transactions. Um, as we have known, meron ng solutions with this from Shopee and Lazada and from online banking as well. Pero minsan talaga hindi may iwasan na may mga hackers tayo na nakakapag-get through pa rin despite the stages of security being imposed by the banks. Next na concern nila is yung privacy of personal information given to websites. Um, this is a bit obvious na kasi uh, the consumers are providing their addresses as well. And kapag hindi tayo careful with handling their data, it might come back to us as sellers. So, dapat may ingat rin tayo sa information na hawak natin from them when we are exchanging transactions. Next, delay in delivery of goods. And compared to store shopping, pahirapan na mag-deliver kasi hindi naman nakikita ni consumer kung nasan na yung product niya. Unlike kapag store shopping, hawak niya na yung item physically. So, they won't have to worry about it. Next, inconvenience associated with the return damage or exchange goods. Um, Siguro everybody in this class have experience na mas stress sa pagre-return ng mga goods nila kasi it usually takes days for you to get the money that you have paid already to the platform or the shop like Shopee or Lazada. So, nagkakaproblema kasi sa pagre-return sa bank. Tapos, yung process pa na binigay ng Shopee dun sa logistics sa pagde-deliver sa'yo. Tapos, lahat ng mga cost na yun, kailangang ibalik. So, um, hindi lang siya inconvenient for the consumers pero inconvenient rin siya dun sa mga sellers. And hopefully in the future, such problem will be solved eventually kasi yun talaga yung pinaka-downside for me for online retailing. Next is overcoming lack of consumer trust on online brand names. This has been prevalent rin sa Shopee. If you guys are not careful, parang yung mga tawag dito, yung mga account names ng mga sellers parang paiba-iba. Kaya minsan mas preferred natin to buy in shops such as Lazada Mall or Shopee Mall just to ensure the originality or I mean the authenticity of the products that we're trying to buy. Okay, next of the challenges, added expenses for online photography, video, and animated presentations. So, kung ikaw as a seller, you're not crafty enough to market your products, which is a really huge impact sa pagbebenta kasi for online retailing, ang pinaka panghatak mo talaga ng consumers mo is through online marketing, through social media at most. So, kapag hindi ka crafty enough to have these aspects, you'll have to find a person who will do it for you. And here comes the virtual assistants or the social media managers that will do the marketing on your behalf. Pero as you may have known, medyo costly sila. Sometimes it takes 30,000 per month or ang bayaran nila hourly would be from 250 pesos to 500 pesos. So, if kung kakayanin sana ng mga retailers, uh, they had to like learn all of these para mas mabigyan pa ng focus yung generation nila for revenue. Okay. Next is online marketing cost for search, email, and displays. Iba pa yung mentioned earlier about social media managers. Minsan kailangan natin ng SEO, search engine optimization, emails, and how it would be reflected or displayed on your consumers, on your target consumers. Next, magiging complex na rin yung mga products natin kasi most um, parang lahat ng products na nakikita natin sa Shopee, minsan super oversaturated na siya to the point na parang ikaw as a seller, gugustuhin mo na magbigay ka ng sale or magbigay ka ng parang discounts or packages para lang makuha mo yung attention ng mga customer mo. And kailangan mo rin bigyan sila ng pansin if ever they have any queries or um, any suggestions that they may be able to give to you as their seller. Ganun. So next, greater customer information can translate into price competition and lower profits. So, yan. Kapag alam mo mismo yung target market mo and how their psychology works, mas makaka-push ka above the competition. And mas makakapagbigay ka ng dapat higher profits yan. Pero yan, mas nakakapag-produce ka ng higher profits. Okay, next. So, paano nga ba natin ina-analyze yung economic viability of an online firm? Meaning, paano natin ma-assure na yung e-commerce na binild natin would be successful on its own through the internet. So, first would be barriers to entry. Dapat yung niche na napuntahan mo for your e-commerce would be tough for newcomers to enter in the industry. So, hopefully, dapat ikaw yung nangingibabaw with the specified services or product that you're trying to imbue in the market. So, next would be the power of suppliers. Dapat yung mga suppliers na kinukuha mo has the capacity to negotiate with you regarding with the pricing especially tsaka sa logistics kasi for example um, if you're getting into drop shipping for example at hindi ikaw yung maghahawak ng mga products na gusto mong ibenta and i-stay mo lang siya sa supplier. Dapat meron kang steady connection with the supplier to the point na mababa yung mabigay nilang presyo sa'yo as for the wholesale as well as yung management nila with providing the logistics towards the consumers na mismo. Kasi nga, all you'll ever do for the dropshipping model would be like marketing. Hindi naman ikaw maghahawak ng pera. Pero ikaw pera. Hindi ikaw maghahawak ng supplies, pero ikaw yung magmamanage nung buong business na yun. So, next, yung power of customers which refers to the ability of the customers for a particular product to purchase among firms' competitors, thus keeping the prices down. So, parang, so basically with the power of customers, pinopoint out dito na if kaya ng customer mo na bumili with your competitors, dapat uh, mas umangat ka by keeping your prices down. Minimal and this can be achieved by minimalizing cost from overhead up until dun sa negotiating mo with the suppliers. So next is the existence of substitute products. This is greatly tied with the opportunity cost na ma-receive mo, and this refers to the present or future availability of products with a similar function. So dapat yung mga products na binebenta mo, if for example bumababa na siya sa trend ng market, you have to keep up. Kasi there's a possibility na may mga other substitutes that will be your competitors. And for example, ano yung pwede mong magawa para makaangat ka from that competition? There could be, for example, i-place mo yung product na to as a higher value, o kunwari bibigyan mo ng mataas na presyo para lang masabi na high-end, or for example, gagawan mo ng um, or lalagyan mo ng other attributes para lang mas mukhang maganda yung products na binebenta mo. Next would be industry value chain, which must be evaluated to determine if the chain of production and distribution for the industry is changing in ways that will benefit or harm the firm. So as you may have been familiar, yung value chain is a process or a series of activities na uh, ina-add ng company to provide value sa product, and hindi lang to from production. This includes marketing and sorry, and after sales service as well. So dapat yung value chain natin mas binibigyan rin ng pansin. Kasi we're not trying to just sell a product, pero we're trying to solve as a solution rin, uh, as a seller or as business owners. So, importante na yung product na gusto mong ibigay sa consumer mo, makakapag-solve ng problema nila para balik-balikan ka nila. So, next is the nature of industry competition, which must be evaluated, kasi it will determine the competition within the industry, and magde-differentiate dito yung products, services, and price, tapos yung scope ng offerings na binibigay mo with your product. So, as mentioned before, kailangan mo umangat among your competitors, hindi lang siya um, against other industry, but within the industry as well. So, what you can do is yung pag-iiba ng price mo, or yung pagdadagdag ng offerings such as um, added value packs or packages. Kunwari magbebenta ka ng sabon, dagdagan mo na shampoo, na toothpaste, na toothbrush, mga gano'n. Okay, next. Um, Key firm strategic factors. What can be done para makapag-provide tayo ng strategies for online firms? So, first, firm value chain, which has been mentioned earlier. Um, this determines if the firm has adopted business systems that will enable it to operate at peak efficiency, whether there are any looming technological changes that might force the firm to change its processes and methods. So, kapag stuck ka pa rin with your traditional ways of manually doing everything, pero meron naman ng technology na makakapag-provide sa'yo about that task automatically, that should be a reason not to change your mind about um, capitalizing towards technology para mas mapabilis yung pagpaprocess mo, um, towards the finished goods that you're trying to create at mas mabilis yung pag-return sa'yo nung mga products na binebenta mo. So next, core competencies, which refers to the skills that the firm has that cannot be easily duplicated. So, for example, if you're working in an audit firm, minsan mas preferred na meron kang capacity to do SAP. Aside from auditing, you can do QuickBooks for bookkeeping. Meron ka ring options to do other programs for technological advancements for accounting. Pwede kang mag-build ng Python or through SQL or R. These are programming languages, by the way. Para mas mataas yung um, skills na binibigay mo sa company mo and mas makapag-provide ka ng better services for your customers. So next, synergies, which refers to the availability of the firm um, of the competencies and assets of related firms that it owns or with which it has formed strategic partnerships. So, minsan may mga moments na ikaw as a seller, you'll have to get partnerships not only with um, businesses that are outside your firm, but also with your competitors as well. And this has been happening for usually consulting or auditing firms para mas mabigyan nila ng better services yung mga consumers nila or your clients nila. They will brainstorm about strategies or competencies that will help elevate the industry as a whole. So next would be current technology, which has been um, has been explained time and time again na kapag ikaw nahuhuli ka na with your technology, it might as well be the time for you to upgrade your equipment, your tech, and your skills para lang makahabol ka with the competencies for other from other industries. Next, social and legal challenges facing the firm. So dito naman, kailangan natin na examine to determine if the firm has taken consumer trust issues such as privacy or security of personal information, and if yung firm ay vulnerable to legal challenges. So, we have to be aware of our processes para lang ma-ensure natin na wala tayong matatapakan na kahit anong batas or any social issues on the matter, because it would be better for us and for the consumers na rin uh, in the whole in the long term na hindi hindi tayo yung cause ng problem for the industry that we are in. Okay, next. So, key firm financial factors um, for us business graduates, parang uh, this has been explained time and time again na for us to push better with our businesses, kailangan tingnan natin ng pansin yung financial factors um, such as yung revenues, which must be examined and check if lumalaki na ba yung revenue natin or at what rate are we in para ma-assess if we should push further or if we should slow down. Ganun. Next would be the cost of sales. This includes all related costs, from the cost of goods sold to the direct, um, yung labor na pinapataw natin for the products, yung raw materials, and other overhead. At we have to check and compare it with the revenue para makita natin if mataas yung gross profit natin. Next, gross margin, which is computed by dividing gross profit with the net sales revenue. Kapag ang gross margin is improving consistently, mas maganda yung economic outlook for the firm. Next, operating expenses, which should be evaluated para ma-check yung needs ng firm, if near interim na ba, and kung kailangan na ba ng increased outlays. So, kapag mataas yung operating expenses natin, we might result to net losses for the firm. So, kailangan natin maging careful with OPEX as much as possible, bawasan siya. Next, operating margin. Um, this is calculated by dividing operating income or loss by net sales revenue. And ang ibig sabihin nito is if ito yung indication na yung company has the ability to turn their sales into profit after operating expenses are deducted. So, gusto mong ma-check if yung pagbebenta mo ay kumikita pa ba or may tubo pa ba or nasosobrahan ka na sa operating expense. So, kailangan mo nang i-adjust yung mga prices ng mga bagay-bagay. So, next, net margin. This evaluates the net profit or loss for each dollar of net sales. Example, if negative 24% indicates that a firm is losing 24 cents for each um, amount of net sales revenue. So, kailangan rin i-check yun. Next is yung balance sheet, which is the snapshot of your assets, liabilities, and equity. At para ma-check na rin if yung current liabilities mo ba is sumosobra na ba or yung current assets mo is nagkukulang. Kailangan mo rin ma-check yung obligations mo in the long run para ma-evaluate mo if may liquidity ka pa with your financial assets. Okay, next. Dito na tayo sa part 2, online content and media. Okay, so what is online media? It is a media that is encoded and can be viewed, distributed, or stored on a digital electronic devices. Examples of online media: content marketing, video advertising, email marketing, pay-per-click advertising, social media marketing, search engine marketing. So, I believe this is self-explanatory na. Um, Basta all of these medias are being used as advertisement pero through the use of internet. Next, ano nga ba pinagkaiba niyo with the traditional media? Traditional media are media outlets and institutions that predate the information stage. So, this offer marketers plenty of opportunities to promote their products. So, hindi lang siya sakop ng internet. With traditional media, you can go through TV commercial, radio advertisement, cold calling, flyers, billboard advertisements, door-to-door sales, and newspaper ads, which is still happening as of the moment. Um, Nag-o-occur pa rin naman in traditional media. So, um, what are the trends for digital consumption? Uh, just a bit of a disclaimer. This information is for the US market kasi hindi pa ganun ka-available din sa Philippines. But then, the first would be average American adult spends 4,500 hours per year consuming various media, not only digitally but also in traditional media as well. So most hours are spent viewing television, followed by internet and radio. Um, Next, although several studies indicate that time spent on the internet reduces consumer time available for other media, recent data reveals a more complex picture as internet users multitask and consume more media of all types than non-internet users. So, sa internet, pwede ka kasi manood, pwede ka mag-browse lang, pwede kang makinig sa music, and you can just endlessly scroll on your social media accounts. And mas madaling makapag-consume ng media ang isang user kapag nasa internet sila. So next, uh, another trends in terms of revenue, kapag television accounts, 32% yung nagiging revenue nila. Kapag print media naman, which is books, newspapers, and magazines, 27%. And next would be 12%. Pero I believe as of these um, years or dates, probably since the pandemic began, tumaas na yung value in terms of revenue for the internet. Kasi that's where most people are like getting into. Yun. So next would be three major revenue models for digital content delivery are the subscription, a la carte, and advertising supported models. So for the subscription, this is with happening with your Netflix, your Spotify. Next would be a la carte. Sa a la carte sorry, sa a la carte subscription naman ay a la carte model naman, um, the user has the capacity to get the services in their own specific timeline. For example, sa mga courses natin sa Udemy, Coursera, pwede kang mag-subscribe in a certain course. Tapos, it will be available for 6 months. Tapos, nasa sarili mong oras if you want to consume it, whichever way you want or however way you want. As long as it will be consumed within the 6 months or kahit hindi mo siya i-consume. Basta nasa sa'yo yung oras. Next is the advertising supported models. This has been happening for Spotify as well, yung free and premium models. So sa Spotify, if you're listening without the premium, you would most likely hear yung advertisement nila while the music is playing. Pero when you get the premium of Spotify, mawawala na yung mga advertisements na yun, and you can choose whatever song you like and in whatever moment you want, unlike sa free lang. Tapos another thing would be freemium, that for example siguro would be Canva. Sa Canva pwede kang makapaggawa ng um, PowerPoints mo, logos, and other stuff for free. Pero yung mga magagandang designs nila or yung higher level services nila, that has to be like paid through Canva Pro. So that's the premium version. So that's where premium comes from. Next would be online newspapers, digital radio, mobile games, and online TV are the top four categories for online content. And next would be the fastest growing paid content area are videos. This has been happening with YouTube, especially TikTok nowadays. Tapos, occurring ring, kaya humahabol yung Facebook and your Twitter, like for videos such as Reels. Kasi there's this potential na rin for paid content in such areas. Next. digital right management. So sa digital right management, dito natin binibigyan ng pansin yung mga digital content na na-produce natin, and we have to make sure na hindi siya makokopya in any illegal means. So, as for the definition, it refers to the combination of technical and legal means for protecting digital content from reproduction without permission. So, sa, sa sample nito would be walled gardens that restrict the widespread sharing of content. So, ano nga ba yung walled garden? Walled garden is an environment in the digital space that controls the user's access to network-based content and services. So, in effect, yung mga yung mga users natin, navigate sila sa particular areas and nabablock sila dun sa mga areas na pinoprotect natin with our digital rights. Yan. So, next, media coverage. Convergence. Sorry. Media convergence. So yun, there are three types of media convergence. The first would be technological convergence, which refers to the development of hybrid devices that can combine the functionality of two or more media platforms, such as books, newspapers, television, radio, and stereo equipment, into a single device. Main example of this one would be our phones. Next is content convergence with respect to content design, production, and distribution, such as Canva, as mentioned. Dito ka magde-design, you can produce the design here, and you can distribute such designs as well. Example rin would be DeviantArt. I'm not sure if you guys are available, pero users can have their own arts placed in there, or sa Pinterest, they can have their own edits or design placed in there, produce it there, and at some moments, may mga times na bayad sila, so it will be distributed there as well. So next, another type of media convergence would be industry convergence, which refers to the merger of media enterprises into powerful, synergistic combinations that can cross market content on many different platforms and create works that use multiple platforms. So, example of this would be Microsoft. Sa Microsoft, nakagawa na sila ng operating system, nakagawa na sila ng applications for documentation, PowerPoints, database management, and such. Another example then would be Google. Not only they provide their main service for search engine, but also with the maps, images, so that they can provide better information whenever we're using the internet. Next topic natin would be social networks, auctions, and portals. So, ano nga ba ang social network? Social networks involve a group of people, shared social interaction, common tips among members, common ties among members, and a shared area for some period of time. So, by extension, an online social network is an area online where people who share common ties can interact with one another. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar na, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar naman na there are Facebook groups na you can join if ever you're interested into a certain topic. For example, if for cooking, lahat kayo gusto ninyong magluto, you can join in a certain group. O kaya yung home buddies, kasi natutuwa kayo sa internal design for your homes. For example, ganon. Or stunning K-pop groups like BTS, Blackpink, or Twice, ganon. So next, ano nga bang pinagkaiba ng social network versus portal? So, in essence, medyo malabo yung pagkakaiba nila. Pero initially, portals began as search engines. Portals added content and eventually many community building features such as chat rooms, bulletin boards, and free website design and hosting. Um, Siguro one of the examples for this one would be sa wiki pages. Sa Wikipedia kasi you can just search whatever you want at first, 'di ba? Pero um some pages have branched out into wiki forums. So kunwari for example, for a specific anime like One Piece, nakalagay na doon lahat ng data about that certain like show. Tapos nakalagay yung summary per episode or yung mga characters, some theories about it. So that's how portals are built. Unlike with social network sites, it begins with content specific locations and added more general portal services such as web searching, general news, weather, travel information, and as well as wide variety of e-commerce sellers. Basic example of this one would be Facebook. So, ang pinapakita lang sa atin ng Facebook nung una would be who is within our geography, our community. So, for our case, most likely kung sino lang within sa barangay natin sa Taguig City. Then, it branches out most likely for the national level as well. So, mas nakakapag-consume tayo ng content at geographically wise. Yeah. So next, um, how are business models made with the social network? So first would be general communities. With general communities, members can interact with general audience segmented into numerous different groups. Yung purpose nila is to attract enough members to populate a wide range of topical discussion groups. Yung general communities began as non-commercial subscription-based endeavors, pero as time goes by, na lumaki na yung mga audiences nila, nagiging larger community portal sites na rin nila. Siguro for example na lang nito is you started as a YouTuber, tapos you're just sharing your content. Tapos as time goes by, lumaki na ng lumaki yung mga viewers mo, yung subscribers mo. To the point na nagbebenta ka na rin ng nagbebenta ka na ng course, ganon. Nagbebenta ka na uh, ng merch for your audiences. That's how general communities are formed. So next, practice networks. Practice networks is a business model where members can participate in discussion groups and they get help or simply inform relating to an area or shared practice such as art, education, or medicine. So, sa network na to, usually they're non-profit business models. And yung attempt lang nila to gather revenue is through subscription fees, sales commission, and limited advertising to cover the cost of operation. Yon. Practice networks. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. For example, sa ResearchGate, mostly yung mga members doon are researchers. Kung hindi man sila researchers, they consume researches such as us students. Usually hinihingi lang nila is a bit of a fee para lang ma-access yung mga research nila and to maintain their website as people come and go uh, dun sa website nila and kailangan siyang ma-manage and kailangan ng pera din. So, another example would be Wikipedia as well. Hindi man sila nanghihingi ng fees, pero you can see in their website na there's an advertisement for donations. So, humihingi sila doon for the maintenance of their website. Okay, next, interest-based communities. Members can participate in focused discussion groups on shared interests such as boats, horses, skiing, travel, or health. Um, yung business model na to has worked through many instances kasi yung targeted audience nila is attractive to marketers. So, um, mas marami yung sponsorship deals with these communities. For example na lang kapag mahilig tayo sa basketball, with NBA, there are tons of sponsorship happening with their team. So that's where interest-based communities comes from, and most of the businesses are using such business model para ma-promote yung products nila. So yon. Next, affinity communities. In this business model, in this community, members can participate in focused discussions with others who share the same affinity or group identification. For example, sa religion, ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation, or even political beliefs. So, sa model na to, it's a mixture of subscription revenue from premium content and services, advertising, sponsorships, and distribution agreements. Okay, next, sponsored communities. Members can participate in online communities created by government, non-profit, or for-profit organizations for the purpose of pursuing organizational goals. These types of sites vary widely from local government sites to branded product sites. This community uses technology and techniques para ma-distribute yung information and extend their brand influence. Yung goal ng branded product site is to increase yung offline product sales nila. And the sites of these communities do not seek profit and are not cost centers. So next, what are auctions? Auctions are markets where prices vary, such as dynamic pricing, and depending on competition among the participants who are buying or selling products or services. Minsan classified ang auctions as customer or consumer to consumer or business to consumer. Although generally, yung term na consumer to consumer refers to the venue in which the sale takes place. Okay, next, ano nga ba ang major type of auctions? First type is English auctions. For this one, a single item is up for sale from a single seller. Tapos marami yung mga buyers and they will bid against one another with a specific time frame. Yung pinaka mataas yung nabid, siya yung mananalo with the object and sa kanya magbibenta yung product niya. Okay, next is traditional Dutch auctions in which yung sellers, they have identical items sold in lots and meron silang listahan ng starting price and time for opening the bids. And habang tumatagal yung oras, yung price for each lot bumababa siya until yung buyer mag-o-offer na siya to buy the price. Yon. Next, Dutch internet auctions. So, with this one, yung sellers, meron pa rin silang identical items for sale with a minimum price or starting bid. And yung buyers, mag indicate sila kung ano yung bidding price nila and yung quantity decide kung ilang piraso. So, yung lowest winning bid that clears the available quantity is paid by all winning bidders. Okay, kung sino naman yung may highest bid are assured of receiving quantity they desire, pero the amount that they will be paying is the lowest successful bid, according to the uniform pricing rule. So, next type of auction, name your own price or reverse auction. Um, I believe this is self-explanatory. Yung buyer, yung magse-specify ng price na gusto nilang bilhin yung item na yun. And multiple sellers will bid for such item. So, kung sino tumapat yung presyo na gusto ni buyers, kanya yung item. Next would be group buying or demand aggregation auctions. In this group buying format, mas maraming users yung magsasign to buy the item, and yung mas mababang item yun yung magbababa yung price. So, these are generally business to business or business to consumer sites where small businesses can collectively receive discounts for items that are purchased in high volume. So, basically, more on wholesaling siya. So, next topic to discuss in the last would be business to business e-commerce, supply chain management, and collaborative commerce. So, ano nga ba ang business-to-business e-commerce? It describes all types of inter-firm trade to exchange value across organizational boundaries. Kasama na dito yung processes insofar as they involve inter-firm trade such as customer relationship management, demand management, and order fulfillment. Kasama rin dito yung manufacturing management, procurement and product development, returns, logistics or transportation, and inventory management. So, for example, nagbebenta ka sa Shopee, um, bale sa business mo, nagko-consume ka ng business ng Shopee for their platform. You're also consuming the business of JNT for the logistics. And for example, you're also consuming the business of your supplier para meron kang inventory, and if possible, ma-manage nila yung inventory mo towards their seller. So, next. Um, ano nga ba yung key stages in history for business-to-business e-commerce? So, noong 1970s, automated order entry system has been prevalent. Ginagamit nila yung phones to send digital orders to companies. Telephone modems were placed in the offices of the customers for a particular business, and this enabled procurement managers to directly access the firm's inventory database to automatically reorder products. Next is the electronic data interchange, or EDI. This has been developed in late 1970s, and it's a communication standard for sharing various procurement documents including invoices, purchases, purchase orders, shipping bills, product stock numbers such as SKUs, and settlement information for the industry. Dinevelop siya para mapababa yung cost, ma-reduce yung delays and mabawasan yung errors na inherent kapag nag exchange tayo ng documents manually. So next, electronic storefronts. Nag-emerge naman itong stage na 'to noong 1990s with along with the commercialization of the internet. So, sa electronic storefronts, uh, this is where online catalogs are being presented. So, sa catalogs na yun, nakalagay na yung product and they are made available to general public by a single vendor. So, next na stage would be the net marketplaces, which emerged on the late 1990s as a natural extension and scaling up of the electronic storefront. So, essential characteristic nito is they bring hundreds of suppliers, each with their own electronic catalog, together with potentially thousands of purchasing firms to form a single internet-based marketplace. So, net marketplaces, example na eto na yung Shopee natin, yung Lazada, yung Zara, yung Facebook Marketplace, even. So, next stage is the private industrial networks, which has also emerged in late 1990s with the commercialization of the internet as the national extension of EDI systems and the existing close relationships that develop between large industrial firms and their suppliers. So, yeah. Um, ano nga ba yung types of net marketplaces natin kasi ito yung frequently used with e-commerce and B2B e-commerce. I mean. So, first would be seller side solutions. For this one, uh, seller side solutions are usually owned by suppliers of goods and mas nagli-lean yung market nila towards the sellers. So they only display goods from a single seller. Yung customers, magbe-benefit sila kasi systems reduce the cost of inventory replenishment and are paid for mainly by the suppliers. Automated order entry systems are seller-side solutions, as an example. Okay, next type of net marketplace is buyer-side solutions. Ito naman are owned by the buyers of the goods and are buyer biased markets because they reduce procurement cost for the buyer. So, magbe-benefit rin dito yung sellers kasi yung cost of serving a company's customer is reduced and yung EDI systems are for buyer side solutions as an example. Next is vertical markets. Sa vertical markets naman, they will provide expertise and products targeted to specific industry. Example rin nito is EDI systems. So, for the last part is horizontal markets, which serves a myriad of different industries. Example nito is electronic storefronts, and they tend to carry a variety of products that are useful to any number of different industries. Okay, next, ano naman yung procurement process? It refers to the way the business firms purchase the goods they need in order to produce the goods they will ultimately sell to consumers. The first The firms purchase goods from a set of suppliers who in turn purchase their inputs from a set of suppliers. These firms are linked in a series of connected transactions. So yung example nito is probably the best example would be Alibaba. Sa Alibaba kasi kapag bibili ka on a wholesale or in a bulk, dapat kakausapin mo muna yung supplier, then you will negotiate your prices or they will provide you quotations. Tapos once you agree with the prices, that's where the payment begins and that's where the transaction begins. So, uh, and as we may have known, yung pagbibili natin sa Alibaba, usually yung mga nabibili doon is binebenta lang rin ulit with other platforms such as Lazada or Shopee. Next is yung supply chain. What is supply chain? It is the series of transactions that link sets of firms that do businesses with each other. It includes not only the firms themselves, pero kasama na rin yung relationships between them and the processes that connect them. So, basically, supply chains, nagre-revolve siya with the logistics and the demand. Most likely, magsisimula ka with the raw materials. Then, you will need logistics para masend siya sa supplier. Logistics ulit para masend siya sa manufacturer. Logistics ulit para masend sa distributor. Logistics ulit para masend sa retailer. And yung endpoint natin would be the consumer, which will need logistics ulit. And para bumalik sa raw materials, yung consumers magde-demand sila nung product na binebenta ni retailer, which will repeat the process all over again for the supply chain. So there are 7 steps in procurement. First step would be searching for suppliers for specific products. Next, qualifying the sellers and the products they sell. Third, negotiating the prices, credit terms, escrow requirements, and quality requirements. Next, yung scheduling delivery, issuing purchase orders, sending the invoices, and shipping the product. So, ano nga ba yung trends occurring with supply chain management? So, first would be supply chain simplification, which refers to the reduction of the size of firms' supply chain. So, dun sa example natin kanina na from raw materials na marami pang pinagdadaanan papuntang consumer, mas pinapaliit natin to. For example, dumediretso na siya. Tinatanggal na yung distributor and dinediretso na siya dun sa retailer papunta sa consumer. In effect, mas mababawasan nito yung product cost and yung administrative cost na kinakailangan for that whole process. So, next would be supply chain management systems. Dito naman, kino-coordinate and nililink yung activities of supplier, shippers, and order entry systems para ma-automate yung order entry processes. From start to finish, included na dito yung purchases, production, and yung moving of product from one place to another. So, next, and yung last trend would be collaborative commerce, which is the direct extension of supply chain management systems and as well as supply chain simplification. Dito naman, they use digital technology to permit supplier and purchaser to share sensitive company information so that they can collaboratively design, develop, and build and manage yung products na binebenta nila for the whole cycle. So, for the last topic, may dalawa tayong types of B2B commerce. First is the net marketplaces and the second is the private industrial networks. So, sa net marketplaces, na-mention na to kanina, ito yung exchanges or hubs and assembling hundreds to thousands of sellers and buyers in a single digital marketplace on the internet. They can be owned by either the buyer or the seller, or they can operate as an independent intermediaries between the buyer and the seller. So, as mentioned, ito na yung Lazada, Shopee, and the likes. So there are four types of net marketplaces. First would be e-distributors. They are independently owned intermediaries na nag-offer ng industrial source, a single source from which uh, in which it in which din magpe-place yung spot purchases natin. So sa e-distributors, horizontal market yung pagbebenta nila, and they serve many different industries with products from many different suppliers. Siguro example nito would be like plastics. Siguro sa maraming fields of retailer, kailangan na plastic bags whenever a consumer needs to buy their products. So that's an example of e-distributors. Next will be e-procurement net marketplaces. Ito naman are independently owned intermediaries connecting hundreds of online suppliers offering millions of MRO goods to business firms who pay a fee to join the market. E-procurement net marketplaces operate on horizontal market in which long-term contractual purchasing agreements are used to buy indirect goods. Next, exchanges. Ito naman yung independently owned rin na marketplaces na nagko-connect sa suppliers and buyers in a dynamic real-time environment. So, they are typically vertical markets in which spot purchases can be made for direct inputs for both goods and services. So, exchanges make money by charging commission on each transaction. So, lastly, for the net marketplaces, uh, would be industry consortia. Ito naman yung industry-owned vertical markets where long-term contractual purchases of direct inputs can be made in the limited set of invited participants. Um, Consortia serve to reduce supply chain inefficiencies by unifying the supply chain for industry through a common network and computing platform. So, for the last type of business-to-business commerce, yung private industrial networks. These networks bring together a small number of strategic business partners who collaborate with one another to develop highly efficient supply chains and to satisfy customer demand for product. They are the largest form of business-to-business commerce. So, that's it for my report po. Thank you very